And that's what a punch tool's for. What's going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential Podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more and suck less. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnston.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I am Dan Ray.
Do you know what a punch tool is?
You showed me one earlier. I didn't know what it was before you showed it to me.
Well, for those of you who aren't watching this on YouTube, it's a device that kind of looks like a very thin slice of Parmigiano Reggiano, but with...
I mean, it looks like a sci-fi weapon.
Yeah, it's like a phaser or some kind.
A black,
like a pew-pew type deal.
Something. It's got a red end, like it's a toy gun that they've put a red
it's
end
for safety,
on.
Because it's, you know...
The same with
That's
a
true.
toy gun.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or punching in Ethernet ports. And I've been talking about this audio RJ45 thing forever and ever, but Dan, I did one.
It's
got a plug like this on one end, and it's got plugs like this on the other.
Jacks like that on the other. So for the people who aren't watching, people who are listening, what you got there is female RJ45s, like you'd plug mic cables into. Mm-hmm. Several of them.
Yep, 4 of them.
How many? 4
exactly
of them
4.
Going to a patch bay jack that you would plug a Cat 5, Cat 6 cable into.
Correct.
Either one?
Yeah. Or an Ethercon cable.
Or an Ethercon cable.
Any one of those works.
So that you could carry signal from 4 inputs across the stage on one thin little cable.
That's right. And it's been proven out. We've already done it. And if you go on to any, music retailer deal, they sell these things. I'll throw an Amazon link on the one that I bought before this in the show notes. But I found a guy who made videos on how to make them. And so I bought all the components on Prime Day and finally worked up the nerve to give it a shot. And I didn't tell you this in the pre-show, but I recorded the process on my Meta Ray-Bans.
Nice.
So I'll probably cut something together to show what the process looks like.
Beautiful.
It's not as hard as I was anticipating. I definitely was like super freaked out though, but it all worked out.
But the first time it came together, you were like, oh.
Yeah. Once I figured
no
out
big deal.
how the punch-in tool does what it does, like I was like, oh. And it was just like, ka-cha, ka-cha, ka-cha. And I was like, oh, much, much better. The soldering was the only, wrinkle in the...
Listen, I had a period in my life many years ago, pre-child, when I was super into RC airplanes, and I did that a lot. And soldering is a part of all of that. So you got to sort of assemble all the electronics and batteries and components and stuff. And I remember being very intimidated by all that until the first time I did it. And then I was like, oh, it's kind of no big deal.
Well, and it's a pretty forgiving medium. Because if you mess it up, unless you like destroy something, like burn it to pieces.
Yeah, just melt it back apart and then melt it together again.
Right.
It's not hard.
But it's very empowering because now I have like 300 feet of XLR cable and I've got a bunch of tips here that I can build my own mic cables and I can fix ones that are broken.
Super cool.
This is one of the few occasions where spending a little bit of money and learning a skill actually can pay off in dividends, especially for, gigging musicians.
That's cool.
Making your own cables. So what about you, man? What you got going on?
Gosh, not a ton. I realized that I have a acoustic gig booked weekend after next that I booked before the surgery. And I'm going to reach out and just confirm that that's for real because I'm a little hazy on having done it.
Yep.
But I kind of think I'm probably ready for a sitting down 3-hour acoustic gig. I think I can pull it off. And maybe I'll turn it into a Dan Ray and Friends. Maybe I'll bring some of my bandmates out to play acoustic with me, which would be fun. But excited about that. Once I kind of prove the case of that, why the next step for that is to start talking about karaoke and I could be a player again. Be a good thing.
Fantastic. I mean, it will double the amount of output that we can generate on a weekly basis.
We can actually talk about things. Yeah. Yes.
I mean, we've done pretty good. Even
we've done all right. I look forward to being that dude who's driving around with a PA in the back of his car all the time.
Fantastic.
It was a good. I liked that Dan. I missed that.
He'll be back. I mean, I've been off for a little bit too. We've got a gig coming up in a couple of weeks, and looking forward to it. The band's been talking back and forth. I don't quite want to talk about the gig that I mentioned the other episode last week, as far as like the 80s like home run gig. Not just because I don't want to jinx it, but there's also now this whole thing where like people are speculating on what the gig might be. So I've gotten multiple DMs where it's like, is it this gig? And I'm like, no. I was like, is it this one? I was like, no. So that in itself is actually just...
So it's fun.
Yeah. So it's, what is it? Schrodinger's gig. Maybe that's, it can be whatever it needs to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got all the legalese sorted on the contract, got some assistance from my lawyer and an LLM to shore it all up, and got sent out. And yeah, so if you need the verbiage for an insurance policy in your contract, we now have a version of the blank contract that has that. Cool. So good stuff there. Did get my guitars dropped off finally. My buddy John's shop is very in a unfortunate part of town and hard to get to, but I got them dropped off. Luckily, he lives up close, and I was just like, hey, I'm just going to pick these up from your house from here on out. So the Strats will be back, and they'll be, they'll have their brains swapped. It's like Face Off. I'll have the Travolta body with Cage's face and vice versa, I guess.
I think I just saw the cover photo for this episode.
Ooh.
Me.
Yeah, Face Off.
Yeah, we'll see.
I like. Yeah. Or maybe we'll do our face. I don't know. We'll figure that out. That's more work for me on my end. But don't worry about it.
I've just given you a job to do.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Anytime.
Yes. In the process of that, I also John is the guy who I traded the Paul Reed Smith EG, that 90s era one, and I traded him for a Les Paul Jr. that I had gotten in a trade for a guitar cabinet. And he had been kind of inkling that he wanted it back. And he's like, man, just like throw a number out. And I was like, I don't particularly care for it. So when I went and dropped it off, I was like, oh man, here's your PRS. And he's like, well, I still got that Junior. Do you want it back? I was like, okay. So this was like a 7-year loaner program, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like a fair trade back and forth.
Foster care, maybe.
There you go.
So yeah, I will have a Les Paul Jr. with a single P90 coming my way. Cool. It was initially set up to be a Charlie Starr kind of Blackberry Smoke tribute guitar.
Yeah.
Not really anything that I need necessarily, but it's got vibe, and I don't have a riffy kind of guitar like that in my arsenal, so why not? It'll be fun. So yeah, I'm about to have 3 new guitars, none of which are new. That's kind of fun.
That is cool.
Guitars I've had that are coming back new and different.
Coming back different.
Yeah, that's neat. Speaking of new and different, Schecter is killing me. They just announced another Nick Johnston signature. It's the 10th anniversary one, and I was like,
it's pretty. It's really pretty.
I was like, I need another one of these, like a hole in the head. But the specs are really compelling.
Do you have a purple one?
I don't, and that's the problem.
Crucial.
So the new ones that were just announced have some unique specs that the 2 that I have don't have. Specifically, they have Wenge necks, which is that purple wood that you always see in like the skunk stripe on the back of some like through neck bass. Mm-hmm. Very purple, with an ebony fretboard. And they also have stainless steel frets, which is something that none of those models have. And they have the USA pickups in them. On top of that, yeah, it comes in purple. It comes in like gold and like a Daphne kind of blue, which they've had before, but that purple one is like real nice. But at $12.99, I could sell both of them and still owe Schecter money. So probably not in the cards, but dadgum. Pretty guitar. And that's pretty much it. We were talking about, what we were going to get into this week, and there was just lots of little things. So this might be a shorty, might be a longie, who's to say?
It's been a while since we've talked on the podcast about, sometimes there's a lot of meat on the bone and sometimes it's just meatballs.
Yeah, so this is one of them meatballs episodes.
Yeah.
And the stuff we wanted to get into covers some current events, some content out in the media sphere that we have been enjoying, and some feedback that we've gotten from the folks out in the interwebs. Mm-hmm. So first and foremost, the video that went out last week of our conversation from the cover band subreddit, and I ended up reposting it in the cover band subreddit, and our OP Dimsy 5150 found it And he sent a response. So wanted to read that because who doesn't love a full circle moment?
There you go.
Dimsy writes, wow, I didn't know my post would garner so much attention. Even though I have the writing skills of a third grader, hey, I'm a community college dropout. What do you expect? LOL. Anyway, appreciate the advice, gents. I will keep you posted in the saga. I have a bass player coming in for an audition on Thursday, which was set up before your video was released. But I think going forward, I will take your suggestion to try out the bassist before he or she meets with the rest of the band. Typically, how have you guys approached auditioning someone on a one-on-one versus the whole band basis? Just get in a room and play some tunes? What if I like the bassist and the rest of the band does not, and I play the dictator card? How would you handle it? No one has declared themselves a dictator yet. So let's just pause on that. Let's talk through this.
Yeah. No, auditioning is a skill.
Yep. So the preliminary thing that I always do is I want proof. Like I need something before I share space with you that you are worth the trouble.
Yeah.
Typically, if I'm doing any sort of open call, which I think that's a muscle you need to kind of keep limber, because even with recommendations and things like that, sometimes looking outside of your network is advantageous. It's a good thing for you to do. And so typically, if I'm posting some sort of ad or request or whatever, I have very specific instructions. So I want a video of you playing something all the way through. It's going to be a specific song or a set of specific songs. That song is going to be what I consider technically challenging in the era that we are operating in, and I need that to be sent my way first. If somebody doesn't follow the instructions, then I do not respond. I think it's just pretty much base level, ground floor stuff. If you can't follow directions, we're already off to a bad start. But the last time I did this, we were looking for a bass player on a gig, and I asked them to play In the Meantime by Space Hog. Not like a super technical song, but a bass line that you got to know, and there's no getting around it. Like that, it is all that song is. So I asked for that and got one back that was just spot on, and they got the gig.
Cool.
And, you know, the personality stuff, I think, is honestly not as hard as the technical stuff, really. I feel like that's something that you kind of get a feel for pretty quickly.
Yeah, you do have to trust yourself, right? There is like, it's easy to get in your head about that. And like, this guy, they're really good, but I got weird creeper vibes off of them or something. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we'll be able to live with that.
Yeah.
Don't trust yourself. Yeah. Trust yourself. What I do is I don't put them through a pre-visit test the way you do necessarily, but I do prefer people who have something they can show me. If it's real performance on a real stage with real band, that's a plus. Yeah. I send them a list of 10 songs and I say, prep 3 of these. Your choice. We'll do what you want to do, and then we'll just play around. And that's strategic because I want to see if they really do prep. I want to test them for they're going to do some homework. If they come in kind of faking it, or, I've known this one forever, or whatever, you can tell the difference. Sure. You can tell the difference between a prepped song and like somebody bashing their way through. And then if they kind of make it through that, I'll pull out other stuff that's not on that list. I'll surprise them with things. Yeah. I'll look for things to surprise them with, and that I can teach them. That in the room, I can show them the moves of it and see how fast they pick it up. That's my next test. And then if they surprise me, I played with a bassist. I said, "Hey, we're doing Lovely Day." Bill Withers starts with a bass intro. He's like, "Oh yeah," he pulled it out. And I was like, "Okay, this is my guy." Sure. Like in that moment, I knew it was him. You got to be ready for the room, what happens in the room to surprise you. My current drummer, current for whatever I'm doing now, but Charlie, my drummer, I was looking at drummers, I was talking to drummers, meeting drummers, playing with drummers. He was the only one who made me dance while I was playing. And I was like, okay, that's why I'm going with you. Yeah.
I like that idea that you get somebody in the room and kind of work through them. If I have my druthers and I've got the runway to do it, the way that I would do it is some sort of like pre-screen, before anybody does anything. Here's something to do. Send this my way. They pass that test, then I'll probably do a non-musical like social interaction, cup of coffee, beer,
Yeah.
ask them what they're into, what they're looking for, da 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 da. You know, if it's like a sub deal, like no big deal. But like if I'm looking for somebody who needs to like vibe, then I'll do that, or I'll do that with typically just one or two other folks in the group, because ultimately, like, you know, the group dynamic is what you're looking for. And if those two things go well, then we'll probably get in a room and do that kind of thing.
Yep.
Sometimes you don't get that luxury, but for like sub work, you can make it through a gig with a very competent musician who may be a ball ache to hang out with.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I do think that for a particular combination of band members, it does help to have the counterpart there. And that combination is bass and drums.
Yep.
If I'm trying out a bassist, I'd like to have the drummer they're going to be working with present. I don't require it. It's fine. But it's helpful because they're the best scenarios I've ever seen are when the bassist and the drummer are so locked in and so Conehead, there's like no air between them. And you can tell in the room if that's going to happen.
Hey, Dan, can you just rewind for a second and explain that Conehead line to anybody who wasn't born?
Who's younger than me.
1987? What you're talking about?
Yes. It's complicated because it involves both Saturday Night Live and hockey.
Do tell.
In 1980, the U.S. won the hockey in the Winter Olympics, and it was unlikely. It was not going to happen. The Russians were going to plaster us. We just knew this. But the miracle on ice, quote unquote, happened in 1980. And part of what that happened was a defense team, 3 players, who were so locked in and so knew each other and could finish each other's sentences and breaths, and like were just, the 3 of them were just a knot together and were impenetrable on the ice. And they referred to them as the Conehead defense, which was a reference to the Saturday Night Live sketch that was going on at the time that was the Coneheads, that was Dan Aykroyd and Jan Curtin and a few other people with a big rubber heads on, and they were weird, and they had telepathy. Yes. And that was the joke. Was the Conehead defense. But so there is this thing that happens in bands where we can read each other's minds after we're doing it a while. And I feel like the best rhythm sections I played with, drum and bass is what I mean by that, are that they have locked in that way, and they've got that sort of mental connection with one another, and it's a magical thing. It really is a magical thing.
Now, for reference, I knew both of those things. The Coneheads movie in the early 90s was definitely regular rotation in our house with Chris Farley and David Spade and Michael McKean, who was phenomenal.
But I fully cop to a 100% Gen X reference drop there. That was...
But also shout out to Miracle, the movie with Kurt Russell as the head coach.
Which was amazing.
Very good movie.
Amazing. Yeah, really good movie.
Sorry for interrupting.
Point is, given that sort of telepathy is part of what I'm hoping I'm gonna foster with bringing this person in, it'd be good if their telepathy partner was there to be part of that and maybe contribute. Not maybe, really contribute to the decision. When we brought Ben in, my last bassist, I did have Charlie there for that. And the way I remember it, at the end of that first time meeting with him, I said, listen, here's the thing. Like, normally I'd excuse you from the room. Charlie and I'd talk, but like, do you mind if we do it in front of you? He was like, no, I don't think so. Fine. I turned to Charlie and said, this is our guy, right? And Charlie's like, oh yeah, this is our guy. Nice. Like, okay, all right, good. You're fine. Okay, Ben, you're in. Like, if you're with us, then we're with you. But it's good to have that particular relationship be something that is discovered during the early parts of it.
Dimsy continues, by the way. To answer your question, we'll be more of a corner of the bar band, playing out once a month. Thanks again. Great video and podcast. Cat Herders Unite. And this was something that there's a postscript to this that I got multiple messages about.
Yes.
As P.S., Brussels sprouts are gross unless you eat them with bacon. Fine. But like that statement about the Brussels sprouts was like something that like multiple people latched onto.
We really like all of our band content has been. I think the lesson is we need to start a Brussels sprouts podcast.
Yeah, apparently, it was so invasive or pervasive that I got this like podcast guest pitch where somebody took like an AI scrub of our transcript and wrote like a little blurb about it. And I was like, I almost believed them. I was real close because again, that's like 3/4 of the way in and like super specific, not something we ever mentioned before. And then they're like, why don't you come and be guest at this event that we're throwing? And it was a week ago.
And it was for podcasters. You could do your podcast from our event and interview other podcasters.
Yes.
Like that's not really what we're about,
Right.
but thanks for thinking of us in your automated screen scraping kind of way.
But again, offering to, us to be your personal
Plus, it's in the
guest.
past. Yeah, I can't help
thing
you
that happened 6
anymore
days ago.
because it was sick. Yeah,
So.
the ship has sailed.
Anyway, so lots of Brussels sprout content coming your way, folks.
It's good stuff.
So yeah, Dimsy5150, thanks for getting back to us.
Also, counterpoint Dimsy 5150, Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, something like a balsamic glaze,
100%.
or like a feta, something like something with a little bit of like
It's good.
funk
Or
to it.
even just charred up under the broiler with a little smoked paprika.
Sure.
There's a lot of ways Brussels sprouts are raw.
Yes, I mean, you're preaching to the choir here, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But not everybody else. Like our listening audience is very divided.
It's divisive.
For sure.
It is.
We'll put a pin in that one. We're all actually we'll put a bow on that one because it's all wrapped up. We're all good
Tie
there.
a rock around it, throw it in the river.
Indeed. Moving along. I did want to note we hit 900 uploads to YouTube, and that's a cool thing until you look at the lifetime like revenue share, and then you divide that by the number of uploads, and then I got sad again.
2 cents a upload,
Dude, I think that's being generous. Listen, folks, I know people think that the money's in YouTube. I can assure you it is not. You can.
Not at our scale.
Every single YouTuber that you think is making their living doing this is probably not. And if they are, they're not getting it from AdSense revenue. They're getting it from other sources.
Right.
And that's all there is to that. Moving along. I saw 2 things yesterday that blew my absolute face off. And they could not be more different from one another. The first one is the Billy Joel documentary on HBO Max. It's titled And So It Goes. And I was under the impression that it was like a series because it when you open up the deal, it says Season 1, Episode 1. And I was like, okay, so I started this and it's going and going. It's like, this thing is 3 hours long.
3 hours.
And it's part 1. And so Amber and I are like, it's almost 10 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, as soon as he meets Christy Brinkley, we're out. And I'll be damned if like they end the 3-hour episode before that even happens. So we were sucked and we watched the whole thing. It was
So we're going deep
so good.
is the point.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, you're talking about the beginning of Billy Joel, like his birth and like rearing, all the way up to Glass Houses. So like we're barely into the 1980s at this point.
Yeah.
None of the like 80s doo-wop Billy Joel sucks part has even like occurred. But there's a lot of stuff that happens up to that point. Because he had 3 like #1 albums, 3 albums of the year consecutively. Like dude was on a run. Hell of a hot streak. So I don't know when the next one's coming out, but if you're into music docs, this one is EP'd by Tom Hanks.
It's got that Band of Brothers cred on it.
Or the That Thing You Do credit, or
Yeah. All that.
all the good stuff that Tom Hanks is known for. Phenomenal. Really, really, really good.
Yeah. I will say I'm a radio hits level fan of Billy Joel. I don't go deep on him, but I do enjoy the meme that there are 4 and only 4 categories of Billy Joel songs.
Okay. Lay him on me.
You think you're better than
Yep.
me? Hey, look at this asshole.
Yep.
Or these assholes. Right. Things used to be better.
Yep.
And here's some advice, moron.
Yeah, but there's also the nobody matters as much in the world as this lady does.
That's true. There's a subcategory of you think you're better than me that is you can't tell me what to do.
Now, the interesting thing is that Some of these where you would think that he's talking about somebody else, like look at these bunch of assholes. A lot of them are about him.
Yeah.
Big Shot, it's about him.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, it's a hangover song. So you wake up the next morning like you had to be a big shot, didn't you?
Right.
You know, you may be right. Of course, is autobiographical, but man,
Yes.
that whole era of his life, he was on the way to just like completely like self-destructing, and that's literally where they dropped the story. It gets dark, it gets pretty heavy, but man, what a great story.
Cool.
Is there going to be 2 parts? Is it 3 parts? Because I could see how the rest of the 80s is its own episode, maybe like the 90s is its own episode, or maybe they do the 80s and 90s together as one episode. I feel like they should dedicate at least a big chunk of it to the whole Madison Square Garden residency thing, because like that's, I mean, it's unprecedented. Nobody's done it. Nobody will probably ever do it.
And even as a Radio Hits level fan, like that was something.
Yeah, unbelievable that you could sell, like do that many shows over the course of a number of years. It's pretty wild. I really want to get into the nitty gritty because like the business side of that is just fascinating. Because I mean, Madison Square Garden is not like some fly by night operation. Like that is a full fledged like event space that like they're doing stuff all the time.
They got stuff booked. Like, how do you take up that much bandwidth, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, what I want to know is like, is there like a Billy Joel closet at MSG, or was there for that period of time where they're just like, we're just going to shove Billy stuff back here for a couple of weeks because he'll be back.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
I'm sure they have storage. Yeah. I'm sure that's not a thing.
Yeah. The other one, I mean, again, could not be more different than a Tom Hanks produced Billy Joel documentary. And that, my friends, is K-pop Demon Hunters.
All right. You hit me about this. You texted me and confirmed that my 11-year-old knows about them and loves them, and she does. And then I said, do I need to watch it? And she was like, no. It's like, well, how come? It's just, no, Dad. No.
The way that I got, pulled into it is that we were over at our neighbor's house, and they have kids our age, and then we have some other friends that came down. We had a pool day, and they were talking about it, and our youngest kind of perked up. Was like, oh, I want to watch this, and so we were like, I mean, it's a lazy Sunday. Let's crank it up. So we started, and the story is compelling. It's an interesting concept. I don't feel like it's giving too much away because it's kind of the whole premise of the movie. The idea is that there's this generational thing that every generation has these 3 hunters, and they are able to protect humanity from demons roaming the earth and trying to steal their souls. And they do it through these songs that are kind of like spells. And so they are not only like literal hunters, like their fight sequences in this movie are incredible, but also there's this music component. So in this era, they are literal pop stars. There's a girl band, K-pop, obviously, called Huntrix, and it's these three singers that are also demon hunters, like on the side. So like the public doesn't know about this. The music is phenomenal. It's really good.
I watched the trailer and I was impressed.
Yeah.
So I may have to check it out.
Even if you like, if you're trepidatious, you don't think it's like your deal. I was literally moved in like multiple like sections of this movie. It was also really funny. It seems like a strange thing to just pop up on Netflix because that could have been a theatrical release and it would have done crazy numbers in my opinion. The music is solid. All of the voice talent are these legitimate like K-pop stars or whatever. Ken Jeong is in it.
Cool.
He's phenomenal. It's a home run. It was the perfect way to spend an afternoon. And if you have kids and need a good excuse to watch it, the guy from the podcast you listened to said it wasn't terrible.
That's good.
So give it a shot. K-pop Demon Hunters.
Let it rip.
You get 2 thumbs up from some 40-year-old dad.
Some rando on the internet.
Cool beans.
And the other rando's dog.
Yes. what else? There was something else we were talking about. Oh, this is, we'll wrap up on this one because I was so tickled by the whole thing. And I think this is a testament to our community specifically, but just the way that something happened in real life that musicians specifically, I feel like, did a very good job of like latching on to. So if you have lived under a rock for the past 10 days, let's say, there was a Coldplay concert. And most people would say, Adam, there are Coldplay concerts happening all over the world at any given time. Why would you even bring it up? And that's true. We have done almost 400 episodes without nary mentioning a single Coldplay show. Not one.
I think that's really true. I don't think we've mentioned Coldplay once.
No. And I've got Coldplay stories. This just isn't the show for them.
Right.
I worked for Apple when Steve Jobs passed away, and they shut all the stores down, and they did this like simulcast of his like life celebration from Apple's campus, and Chris Martin performed at it. It was a very so I like Coldplay, but this is just not a Coldplay show until this past week.
Today.
Anyway, there was a moment where Coldplay, of no fault of their own, they are the only innocent bystanders in this entire operation, as far as I'm concerned, ended up in the middle of a scandal of sorts because they were doing basically just like a crowd cam, and people are saying it was a kiss cam. It wasn't really, but
wasn't really.
Their film crew accidentally captured a tech CEO stepping out of his marriage with their chief people officer. And to say that they reacted poorly is the understatement of the century.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing is that, like, if they had done nothing, they would have gotten away with it.
There are ways they could have played it off, but they were caught, and they knew they were caught, and they reacted like caught people. We're just good friends hanging out, watching Coldplay.
If they Love Actually thing where they just smile and wave, they would have been fine.
Right. Stand at the door while somebody else is pulling cards.
Right. But instead, they acted like the two most guilty people on the face of the planet because they were.
And therefore clearly were.
Yes. And so badly that Chris Martin called the situation
like
in
live
the moment.
On mic. Yeah.
It's like either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. And he knew that they were not being very shy. He knew exactly what was going on. Yeah. Anywho, the moment that hit the airwaves or what have you, the meme exchange in the Patreon Slack became a flutter. And I do want to, I want to shout this out. I believe John Pratis from Big in the 90s was the first one to drop the meme in, and I don't want to speak out of turn. And if I'm saying the wrong name, I will correct it. But I don't think I'm wrong. I think this was it. Let's see here. I take it back. So none of this made it in. So I do want to shout out. It's Adam Z from You've Got 90s. Oh, wait, no, I take it back. I take back the take back. So Adam Z posted, nice one, John Pratis Big in the 90s. And then Adam Z right after that posted their version of it. And then everybody else piled on.
Yep.
As soon as the second one popped off in the group, it was all over. Everybody else, did their version. I did one for members only. And the level of creativity on this is just unprecedented. And listen, people outside of this community were in it just as heavily as anybody else.
For sure.
Even the Name House guys got in on it. There's some really good ones out there. So it was just a perfect way for bands who do what we do to kind of meet the moment. And we weren't the only ones, but by golly, we were some of the firsts. And everybody's crushed it. High fives all around.
Yeah, it's a good lesson. When something hits the memosphere real hard, you want to think about, how can I twist that for my own, depraved values? Yes.
There was also some other memes that will never make socials that got put out there. And I'll just leave it at that.
It was just for the enjoyment of us.
Yes. There are some things that if you take your branding seriously, there's just some lines that can't be crossed. Right. Anywho, I'm looking at 5 other ones that are really funny.
I know.
The one with David Byrne's head in that lady's assist. This is not my beautiful wife. Anyway, and it's just the kind of stuff that we're doing. We're talking about it on the Patreon Slack pretty much every single day. Let's see, we got some unread stuff here. Talking about gear. Talking about, let's see, it looks like slap bass fundamentals. One thing. Somebody asking about playback on a laptop. Man, there's just all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of good topics.
So if that sounds like anything you'd be interested in, $5 a month, you're in. You are in.
Cha-ching.
There you go. And that's it. You know, that's
it.
I've got wiring to test and guitars to pick up and songs to prep. We got asked to do another live band karaoke thing, and they asked if it was okay to like put on their socials certain requests, and so we've got a handful of tunes. My favorite one, though, is that the general consensus there was just anything in quotations by Taylor Swift. Just the word anything. So,
any old thing.
So we'll be trying to add a couple of those. We've done Style before, and that's a good one, I think. And we did Love Story at the last live band karaoke one. That's a good tune. I'm thinking about adding Taste by Sabrina Carpenter. That'd be a pretty easy sell. But again, I need these strats back because that's just the tone that I need, so I can start working on it.
For sure. Yeah.
All right, folks. I mean, that's it. You got anything?
There you go.
All right.
No, we've deployed all of our meatballs.
Crushed it. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Couldn't do without you. Would if we needed to, but glad we don't have to. If you'd like to support the show, you can do any of these things, but I'll go ahead and call for this week. In Atlanta, Georgia, I am Adam Johnston.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I am Dan Ray.
You've been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of July 25th, 2025.